Mercury in Pisces. Alright, so today we're going to be talking about Mercury in Pisces and what can we say about this placement and how do you guys think? How do you express yourself and how do you learn? How do you communicate and really bring your ideas out to others and present them? Well, Mercury in Pisces tends to have the type of communication that is nebulous and very up and down and not always straightforward. If you have this placement, you might be very indirect with how you communicate, and you might not be doing this on purpose always necessarily. It could just come off that way because the way that you think is not always going to be completely like 100% linear. It's not always going to be in a way that makes sense to other people because the way you think is very abstract and it's a lot more based on intuition rather than you know, science or logic. A lot of times you're going to be forming conclusions and forming ideas in your head based on how you feel or based on your sensitivity. A lot of your thinking is, and a lot of the decisions that you make are going to be based on how you feel and not so much based on what your mind tells you is smart to do. Like, a lot of it will be based on how you feel and just what your intuition tells you to do, which isn't something that everybody will understand about you. You guys have a way of reading other people very well. So that could mean that, you can walk into a room and just easily absorb the energies of whoever's around you, basically. So it's pretty important for Mercury and Pisces to be surrounded by good energy, positivity, and just uplifting and encouraging energies. Just because they are like so easily impressionable and easily influenced by other people, other people's emotions, they're going to feel it too. They're able to intuit other people's thoughts, without them having to say anything necessarily. This Mercury placement kind of pushes people to be more toward the psychic side of things rather than like the conventional, or they're much more prone to having, flashes of vision, flashes of intuition, and just basically just get feelings about situations or people. Like I said, their minds don't always operate on in ways that other people will really understand the best because Pisces is that sign ruled by Neptune. Neptune is kind of like this foggy, hazy, confusing, unclear planet, and it's very dreamy, it's illusory. It's based on illusion and fantasy and dreams. And so when you try to apply that to a Mercury placement and try to apply that to how one can communicate and how they can express themselves and how they think, ultimately it's going to make somebody very confusing and just unclear, and almost like it's not always going to be 100% like clear cut, straight facts, straight evidence. It's it's all going to be pretty muddled and pretty like jumbled up, and this can confuse some other people who have Mercury in like earth signs or air signs, who are much more like scientific minded and much more like about rules and strategies and analyses, and like whose minds are much more like mathematical and logical. Pisces, Mercury in Pisces is not always going to be like based on logic. They can just kind of like come up with ideas or make their own decisions based on like, oh, I feel that this person is not telling the truth, or like I don't think it's going to work out this way because like I just have this strange feeling that it's just not going to. Yeah, they have a way of just trusting their intuition, their instincts when it comes to like forming conclusions about people or situations. Another really important aspect to Mercury and Pisces is how distracted they get, how fluid their minds are, because they are water, and they're not just water signs, but they're also ruled by Neptune. So really has this like drowning quality. Their thinking has even more of a drowning type of floundering quality to it. That's going to make them much more prone to distractions, much more prone to being easily influenced and easily swayed, and they can change their minds quite a bit. They're going to be going up and down with their opinions, and it might change based on who they're speaking to. This placement can really make somebody lose their ego and lose their self drive, their self will, when it comes to like getting what they want or expressing themselves, because Pisces is that most selfless sign, and they're the ones who are not about themselves. It's like they can easily just like deny their own selves and deny their own desires and deny just their ego, their individuality, just for the sake of other people. So Mercury in Pisces, you can really very easily get lost in the opinions of other people, what they think about you, or whoever it is that you're with. You're gonna basically end up, you can end up kind of just going along with the crowd, not necessarily standing up for yourself or sticking to your own beliefs, your own ideas, because you are go with the flow. Pisces is very much go with the flow. They're like, they just kind of go with the tide, and like whatever it is other people are doing or saying, they can easily camouflage within that and just kind of erase their own individuality, erase their own ego and identity. These people can really find it much easier to express themselves through music, through poetry, through art, through anything that's basically creative, that allows for creative expression, creative interpretation as well. They might do this through songwriting, through creative writing, through poetry, and this is their strong suit, basically. And not only do they know how to communicate and express themselves very well through artistic means and through creative expression, but they're also able to interpret other people's messages through their own artworks as well. And they're able to, they're really able to read between the lines when it comes to like hidden messages or symbolisms. They're really good at tapping into that and just going deeper, going beyond what you can just read. Their minds are very capable of having true depth and just going deeper than like where others will kind of stop at the surface of what it is that they're seeing or reading. They can interpret messages a lot deeper than other people. These people aren't always the best at receiving or following instructions or maps or guidelines. They Since they do have a tendency to be very distracted and kind of just go with the flow, it's hard for their minds to be kept within a box, to conform to like a rigid structure of thinking. Because their minds are just so fluid, it can easily like just go on a different path. They are those creative thinkers, and they are very fluid in their thinking processes. So when it comes to like following a map or doing certain directions in like a manual or something, like they might just kind of like nix the map, nix the instructions, and just go with what they think is right, and just kind of figure things out like on the way. They're very much like play by ear types of people. They're not really gonna want to stick to a schedule. They're not very good at that. They just kind of like start things and then just go with whatever their gut instinct is telling them to like go. And I would say that Mercury and Pisces can be quick learners because their minds are easily impressionable. They're a mutable sign, and mutable signs tend to, Mercury mutable signs tend to be pretty quick learners because their minds are so adaptable, they're so flexible, and they're not like the types of people who will just stick to what they know and like never change it ever. They can easily change their minds a lot and often, just because of the influence of other people, and their minds are just so malleable. They're just so easily changeable, so easily influenced. They don't like their thoughts or beliefs to be like kept tightly in a container. it just wants to, flow this way and that, and have that freedom, that like artistic creative freedom of interpretation, of doing things their own way. And not necessarily because they have to have things their own way or anything like that, but that's just the way that their mind naturally flows. It's just very free, and it's just very much open. They can be one of the most open-minded people as well. That kind of goes along with being a mutable sign as well. Yeah, I was trying to say that they make really fast learners because of this, because they're just so open to new ideas and beliefs, and like whatever you teach them, it they can soak it up so quickly and so easily. Their minds are like sponges basically. These are the types of people who will put others and the feelings and the comfort of others before their own self, their own ego. Like I said, they have a tendency to just kind of like deny their own selves when it comes to decision making. Like, they're not the types of people who will go after something or express their own ideas just to get it out there, just to like assert themselves. They're kind of the opposite of that. These people will have a lot of compassion for other people because they have a tendency to like put others and other people's comforts before their own selves. And also because so many thoughts and feelings of others are just kind of like pervading their own like headspace, it's easy for them to know how other people are feeling and thinking. And therefore it's like it kind of just like crowds their mind, overcrowds their mind, so that they end up kind of forgetting about their own selves, their own thoughts and their own feelings. So this can be harmful in some ways, just because they can lose themselves in other people so much, and they can just kind of forget about pursuing their own agendas and staying on task in their own lives, because they're so busy like catering to other people, because they know so much about other people without them even saying it, and because they can easily soak up the feelings of other people. Yeah, it's easy for Mercury and Pisces to just kind of like lose themselves emotionally and mentally among the people that they're surrounded by. And Mercury in Pisces also tends to have a photographic memory. They can easily have a vision of the future, of what it is that they want to create, of the ideal perfect society, or like the ideal outcome, or the ideal end result of what it is that they've planned. Not that they are very big planners, but any type of dream that they have, or any type of like perfect world that they have for society. It's like something that they can really imagine so well in their heads. Their imaginations are one of their strongest points. And this can kind of lead them down a negative path if they're not careful. On the good side, this just lends so much to their creativity, to their way of speaking. It can be interesting to watch, and it can be entertaining for other people to talk to them, just because how driven they are by their imagination and their creativity. Like, their minds and their thoughts are just not kept inside of a box, like, at all. It's not rigid structured thinking. It's just so out there and just so free flowing, and it just comes so naturally to them. Like, they don't force anything on themselves or anybody else. Like, they're just kind of gonna go with the conversation. Even if you start to lead it, they might go with it. They might go this way, they might go that way. It's just the possibilities with them are endless, basically. On the negative side to them having such a huge imagination is that they can easily worry themselves a lot, just from thinking about like all kinds of scenarios that could go down, all kinds of end results that could happen from whatever it is that they decide to do. So yeah, that's an example of how their imagination can like lead them astray, and kind of work against them. Basically, these are your daydreamers. These are your storytellers, your artists, your poets, your musicians, your songwriters. They're able to communicate in that sort of way that just touches people's hearts, and in ways that words and numbers aren't needed. It comes to a point where there are certain things in your heart that you want to express, but it's just like words and numbers are just like not enough. And oftentimes Mercury in Pisces can think that way, that, you know, even if I said straight out, like straightforward, in a straightforward manner, like ABC, or even if they were very like straightforward about their own thoughts and just said it out loud, like oftentimes they can just think, well, that's not really enough. That's not really getting to like the heart and soul of things. Like words are just words, and they don't always capture the emotion that I want to give out to the world. And so they'll do that in a creative way. They're going to do that very artistically and in a way that requires interpretation, that involves symbolism, and just they that's just the way that they think. That's the way that their mind operates, and like this can just make them so interesting and so fascinating to talk to, and to have conversations with, just be involved with intellectually with them. And last thing I really want to point out about Mercury and Pisces is just how easily they can fall prey to their own illusions, their own dreams. And the way that they think and absorb information is not always based in reality. They can easily imagine uh, certain scenarios playing out, and because of this, they might imagine that they're real, that they've actually happened, or that they have cause to worry. Either that, or they're just going to imagine people to be better than what they really are. So Mercury in Pisces is not always the best, like, and in judging other people critically, because they have a way of just giving everybody and everything a chance, giving everybody the benefit of the doubt. And so they can easily be taken advantage of. Other people can see their gullibility, and so they might take advantage of that and take advantage of their compassion, just their belief in humanity. And Mercury in Pisces can just fall for that and be easily led, be easily influenced by, like, they didn't mean to hurt me, or I know that deep inside they're a good person, and oh, I'll just give them a second chance, basically. Or they can just have like these very, very far off illusions of who people really are, or how a situation really is, because they're so busy imagining what it should be like, or how they would like for it to be. See, that's just like, it's just not based in reality. It's not based on what it is that they're seeing. They're so in their fantasy world and so much living in their dreams and their ideals. Like, it can be really sad to watch them get let down. In the end, that's just one of those like heartbreaking facts to face if you're a Mercury in Pisces. That's just something that I thought would be very important to point out about them. So I think that's going to be it for my Mercury in Pisces video. Thank you for watching, and if you'd like to subscribe or have any more ideas for any future series for my channel, I'd love to hear them. Please just remember to like and subscribe, please. And follow my Tumblr and my Twitter. They're both Lunar Cappy. And if you could do that, that would be really great. I'm pretty active on both of my social medias, so I've got one more video left to film for Mercury. It's going to be Gemini. And sorry for making you guys wait, but yeah, I'll be back soon with that. And if you're a Mercury in Pisces, or if you know somebody who's like this, please let me know what your thoughts are.